Sound is an invisible force that shapes our daily lives, from the gentle rustle of leaves to the soaring crescendos of a symphony orchestra. At its core, sound is a physical phenomenon, a series of vibrations traveling through a medium such as air, water, or even solid objects. These vibrations, known as sound waves, are fundamental to our experience of music and play a crucial role in how we perceive and interact with the world. To truly appreciate the beauty and complexity of music, it is essential to understand the science of sound, how waves are generated, how they move, and how their properties, frequency and amplitude, impact both the creation of music and the way we hear it. The journey of sound begins with vibration. When an object moves back and forth rapidly, like a guitar string being plucked, a drumhead struck, or vocal cords vibrating as we sing, it disturbs the surrounding molecules. In the case of air, these disturbances create regions of compression and rarefaction, where air molecules are pushed together and then pulled apart. This rhythmic pattern of high-pressure and low-pressure zones propagates outward from the source, creating a longitudinal wave, the sound wave. Unlike light, which can travel through a vacuum, sound requires a medium because it relies on the movement of particles to transmit energy. As sound waves travel, they carry information about their origin, the characteristics of these waves, how frequently they oscillate, how large their oscillations are, and their shape, determine the qualities of the sound we perceive. The most fundamental property is frequency, measured in hertz, which indicates how many complete cycles of compression and rarefaction occur each second. Frequency is directly linked to pitch. Higher frequencies produce higher-pitched sounds, while lower frequencies correspond to deeper, bassier tones. For example, the lowest note on a standard piano, A0, vibrates at just 27.5 Hz, while the highest, C8, reaches an astonishing 4,186 Hz. Amplitude, on the other hand, describes the magnitude of the wave, the extent of the pressure variation in the medium. In musical terms, amplitude is closely related to loudness. A softly played violin and a thunderous drum both generate sound waves, but the drum produces much larger pressure variations, resulting in a sound that is perceived as louder. However, our perception of loudness is not linear. Doubling the amplitude does not simply double the perceived volume. The human ear is more sensitive to certain frequencies and responds logarithmically to changes in amplitude, which is why the decibel, dB, scale is used to measure sound intensity. The interplay between frequency and amplitude forms the foundation of musical expression. Musicians manipulate these properties to create melody, harmony, rhythm, and dynamics. Consider a simple melody played on a piano. Each note corresponds to a specific frequency, while the force with which the key is struck determines the amplitude. By varying these parameters, musicians convey emotion, build tension, and craft intricate sonic landscapes. But the story of sound in music does not end with frequency and amplitude. Another critical aspect is timbre, often described as the color or quality of a sound. Timbre allows us to distinguish between a violin and a flute, playing the same note at the same loudness. Physically, timbre arises from the complex mixture of frequencies present in a sound wave. Most musical notes are not pure tones. Rather, they consist of a fundamental frequency, the pitch we hear, and a series of overtones or harmonics, higher frequency waves whose frequencies are integer multiples of the fundamental. The relative strengths and phases of these harmonics give each instrument its unique voice. The science of sound waves also explains phenomena such as resonance, interference, and reverberation, all of which profoundly influence music. Resonance occurs when an object or system vibrates at its natural frequency in response to an external stimulus. This principle is harnessed in musical instruments. The body of a guitar or violin amplifies the vibrations of the strings by resonating at specific frequencies, enriching the sound and increasing its volume. Similarly, the human vocal tract acts as a resonant chamber, shaping the sound produced by the vocal cords into the diverse range of vowels and consonants we use in speech and song. Interference is another intriguing consequence of the wave nature of sound. When two or more sound waves meet, they combine according to the principle of superposition. If their compressions and rarefactions align, they reinforce each other, resulting in constructive interference and a louder sound. If they are out of phase, they can partially or completely cancel each other out, producing destructive interference and reducing the sound's intensity. This phenomenon is responsible for the beats heard when two notes of slightly different frequencies are played together, a pulsating variation in loudness that musicians sometimes use for tuning. Reverberation, or reverb, is the persistence of sound in a space after the original source has stopped, caused by multiple reflections of sound waves off surfaces such as walls, ceilings, and floors. In concert halls, careful architectural design ensures that reverberation enhances the music, creating a sense of fullness and immersion without muddying the details. Too much reverb can make music indistinct, while too little can render it dry and lifeless. Sound engineers and composers often manipulate reverberation to evoke specific moods or spatial effects in recordings and performances. The propagation of sound waves is also subject to the characteristics of the medium through which they travel. Sound moves faster in solids than in liquids, and faster in liquids than in gases, because the particles are more tightly packed and can transmit vibrations more efficiently. Temperature, humidity, and air pressure can all influence the speed and quality of sound transmission, subtly affecting the timbre and clarity of music in different environments. Our perception of sound is shaped not only by the physics of waves, but also by the remarkable biology of hearing. The human ear is a sophisticated detector and analyzer of sound. The outer ear collects sound waves and funnels them into the ear canal, where they strike the eardrum and set it vibrating. These vibrations are transmitted through the tiny bones of the middle ear, the malleus, incus, and stapes, to the cochlea, a fluid-filled spiral structure in the inner ear. Inside the cochlea, specialized hair cells convert the mechanical vibrations into electrical signals, which are then interpreted by the brain as sound. The ear's sensitivity to frequency and amplitude is extraordinary. Young, healthy ears can detect frequencies from about 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, though this range narrows with age and exposure to loud sounds. The ear is also adept at discerning subtle differences in pitch, loudness, and timbre, enabling us to recognize familiar voices, appreciate complex harmonies, and localize sounds in three-dimensional space. This ability to parse the intricate patterns of sound waves is the foundation of our musical experience. Music exploits the physics of sound in creative and profound ways. Scales, chords, and rhythms are constructed from the relationships between frequencies, durations, and amplitudes. The Western musical scale, for instance, is based on a series of frequency ratios that produce intervals perceived as harmonious or consonant. The octave, a fundamental interval in music, corresponds to a doubling of frequency. The perfect fifth, another pleasing interval, has a frequency ratio of 3.2. These mathematical relationships have been recognized since ancient times, notably by the Greek philosopher Pythagoras, who discovered that simple ratios produce harmonious sounds. Tuning systems and temperaments reflect the challenges of fitting these idealized ratios into the practical constraints of musical instruments. The modern equal temperament system divides the octave into 12 equal parts, allowing musicians to play in any key without retuning their instruments. This system slightly compromises the purity of certain intervals, but enables the rich harmonic language of Western music. Rhythm, another essential element of music, is rooted in the temporal patterns of sound waves. The arrangement of note durations, accents, and silences creates the pulse and groove that drive musical expression. Our brains are finely attuned to rhythmic patterns, enabling us to synchronize movements, dance, and feel the emotional impact of a well-timed crescendo or a sudden pause. Advances in technology have expanded the possibilities of sound manipulation and musical creativity, Electronic instruments, synthesizers, and digital audio workstations allow musicians to generate, modify, and layer sound waves in ways unimaginable to previous generations. Techniques such as sampling, looping, and signal processing rely on a deep understanding of the physics of sound and the principles of wave behavior. Digital audio represents sound as a series of numerical samples, capturing the amplitude of the wave at discrete points in time. The process of converting analog sound waves into digital data, and back again, requires careful attention to sampling rates, bit depth, and filtering to preserve fidelity and avoid artifacts such as aliasing or distortion. The science of sound also underpins the design of acoustic spaces, from intimate recording studios to grand concert halls. Architects and acousticians use mathematical models and empirical measurements to optimize the reflection, absorption, and diffusion of sound waves, ensuring that music is heard with clarity and balance. The placement and materials of walls, ceilings, and seats can dramatically affect the listening experience, highlighting the importance of both art and science in the creation of musical environments. Hearing loss and auditory health are important considerations in the relationship between sound and music. Prolonged exposure to loud sounds can damage the delicate hair cells in the cochlea, leading to permanent hearing impairment. Musicians and listeners alike must be mindful of safe listening practices, using ear protection in noisy environments and taking breaks to prevent fatigue. Advances in hearing aids and cochlear implants have restored the gift of sound to millions, demonstrating the power of science to enhance and preserve our musical lives. The emotional impact of music is a testament to the profound ways in which sound waves touch our minds and hearts. Neuroscientific research has revealed that music engages multiple regions of the brain, triggering the release of neurotransmitters associated with pleasure, memory, and social bonding. The patterns of frequency, amplitude, and rhythm encoded in sound waves become the raw material for artistic expression, cultural identity, and personal meaning. In summary, the science of sound provides a window into the mysteries of music and hearing. From the basic physics of vibrating objects and propagating waves to the intricate workings of the human ear and the creative possibilities of technology, the study of sound reveals the deep connections between matter, energy, and perception. Music, in all its diversity and wonder, is ultimately a celebration of the invisible waves that shape our world, a testament to the power of physics to inspire, communicate, and unite. As we listen to our favorite songs, attend concerts, or create music ourselves, we are participating in a timeless dance of waves and vibrations. Each note, chord, and rhythm is a manifestation of the underlying laws of nature, transformed by human ingenuity and emotion into something uniquely beautiful. By exploring the science of sound, we gain not only a deeper understanding of music, but also a greater appreciation for the marvels of the universe and the extraordinary ways in which we experience it. The story of sound continues to unfold as new discoveries and innovations push the boundaries of what is possible. From the development of immersive audio technologies to the exploration of sound in virtual and augmented realities, the interplay between science and music promises to enrich our lives in ways we have yet to imagine. The waves that shape music are, in essence, the waves that shape us, connecting past and present, science and art, mind and spirit. At its heart, the science of sound is a study of connection, the connection between vibrating objects and the air around them, between waves and the ears that receive them, between the physical world and the inner landscapes of thought and feeling. Music, powered by the physics of sound, is one of humanity's oldest and most universal languages, a reminder that, though we may not always see the waves, we are forever moved by their presence.